Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show coming to you from the planet Earth, right here in Hollywood, California at the Stream.TV studios, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here, AMC's very own Alicia Malone.
Hello, welcome. What day is it? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Woo!
And also here, Editor-in-Chief for Collider.com, Steve Weintraub.
Frosty's here!
Yay.
Thank you for having me back. Again, I didn't screw up last time.
We now know when the first sort of trailer for Avengers 2 will be seen. Marvel Entertainment has officially announced that the first trailer will be shown on TV during a commercial break for next week's episode of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. John, why premiere a first trailer with a TV show?
Well, because it's two things. One, it's sad and pathetic, and number two, it's genius. All at the same time. It's sad and pathetic and yet genius at the same time. Look, you all know Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a horrible television show, and it's hemorrhaging viewers like crazy. It's like, I put on my Facebook page, it's losing viewers like somebody with a severed arm is losing blood. Yesterday's show was the lowest rated show they've had in their existence so far, with a 1.5 share, as opposed to the week before, which is a 1.7.
Wait, asterisk. Yesterday was a World Series, and a lot of people tune into that.
Well, that's true, but that doesn't excuse the week before, which was also a series low, and it just continues to go, in that direction. I don't know a lot of, just me personally, I don't know a lot of big Marvel fans that are also sports guys, but we exist. You and I are two examples of that. They need to do something. People are not watching the show. It's lost 2/3 of its viewers from its series premiere, I should say. So it's kind of sad that they need to do this. But at the same time, this is genius. You could have a television show called Flopping Fish Dying on a Sidewalk, where each week they just take a different fish out of a bucket, drop it on a sidewalk, and watch it flop around as it dies for 30 minutes. And then you say, and we're going to show the first Avengers trailer on next week's episode. It's going to get a 5.0 share. I mean, that's what's going to happen. So if Marvel still believes in this show, and everything I've read still suggests that they still believe in that show. So if you do believe in that show, prove it by putting some weight behind it. There is nothing more bigger they could do than to say, okay, this trailer everybody's asking for, we're going to drop it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If that doesn't get, number one, more viewers to check it out, but then number two, we'll see how big the drop-off is the following week. If they can hold on to some of those new viewers that are going to coming in, this is one of the most brilliant strokes of genius in marketing I've seen in a long time. This is the right move for them to do. So I'm all for it. Anyway, Steve, you saw this news break. What was your first reaction to it? What did you think about it?
No-brainer. I mean, Marvel, Disney, they're the same company. ABC, same company. Listen, I think it's obviously great that they're going to premiere the trailer. I think the trailer is very similar to what people saw at Comic-Con.
I agree, yeah.
It's really well cut. Everything I know about Avengers 2 says it's going to be fantastic. The situation with S.H.I.E.L.D., though, just real quick, I like the show, and it's definitely gotten better this season than it was last season, but S.H.I.E.L.D. suffers from the biggest issue that S.H.I.E.L.D. suffers from is that it's 22 episodes. And I don't know about you guys, I watch a lot of TV now, but I'm primarily interested in shows that are between 8 and 13 episodes, and 22 is a huge commitment, and you water down story with a high concept show like S.H.I.E.L.D. when it's 22 or 24 episodes. I think it would be better served if it was a 13 episode show. People could, make the storyline stronger. Then next year they could do, the Agent Carter thing. But this is a tangent. Getting back to the trailer thing, it's brilliant. I don't think it's going to get a 5.0 share, but...
no, maybe not 5.0.
But, definitely more people will tune in. But I think most people are going to catch the trailer, soon thereafter on the web. They'll be like, oh my God, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Avengers trailer just hit. Watch it here.
Alicia, on top of that, let me throw this curveball at you.
Yeah.
Does it... In today's age, where just a few years ago we were asking what movie will this whatever trailer premiere in front of, there seem to be dropping the trailers online now first. Anyway, does it even matter anymore where a trailer drops first?
I don't think so, because like Frosty said, people will watch it online soon after. I don't even have TV. I just have iTunes and Netflix, and I'm done, because I just watch movies and that's it. So I haven't seen the show. I can't speak to the value of it, but I think it's really smart to get people to try and tune in, and then obviously they're hoping they'll come for the trailer and then they'll stay for the show.
Yes.
Because the cinematic universe is so popular. But I know I'll be watching Twitter, and then it'll pop up not long after that, even if it gets taken down by Marvel pretty quickly, it'll be there for a second. So I will watch it there instead.
You know, I hate on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. an awful lot.
Yeah.
And you'll find I actually hate on the
you really
things.
do.
Yeah,
the things
you
I hate
do.
on the most are the things I love the most.
Yeah.
I want to love that show so bad. Like, as much as I hate it and I think it's just terrible and awful, I still watch it every single week.
But
Why?
Do you agree with me, though, that show, with its high concept, would be much better served as 13 episodes?
I don't necessarily agree. I find there's a lot of series that are 22 episodes that have better ratings and carry themselves really well.
But here's the thing, name for me a few high-concept shows.
I don't know that I would call Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a high-concept show.
It has a storyline that it has big effects. It is I'm just saying, for me, I think it would be a better 13-episode show. I think that Agent Carter in like the spring, S.H.I.E.L.D. in the fall, or vice versa, or doing, I don't know, 3 Marvel shows and just,
Let's put it this way. I would be for anything that might improve the quality of the show, because I force myself to watch it every week because apparently I hate myself. And yet every week I get more and more angry at it because I want so badly to love it. I want to love it so bad because you and I love Clark Gregg.
He's amazing.
I think Coulson is a wonderful character in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think Ming-Na is a really strong presence. I think every one of the other casts can be shuffled off somewhere else. But I just want to love the show so bad. So if you hear me hating on the show a lot, it's because I love. It's because I love too much. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's move on. What's next?
One of the biggest box office disasters in recent years is 2012's Disney film John Carter. In case there was any doubt that Disney had no interest in producing a sequel, it was announced yesterday that the film and television rights to Mars series have reverted back to Edgar Rice Burroughs Inc. A statement released by the company said the following. John Carter of Mars was the creative stimulus behind such movie classics as Superman, Star Wars, and Avatar. Edgar Rice Burroughs was the master of adventure, and his literary works continue to enjoy a worldwide following. We will be seeking a new partner to develop new adventures on film, as chronicled in the 11 Mars novels Burroughs wrote. This adventure never stops. Along with a new Tarzan film in development by Warner Brothers, we hope to have John Carter of Mars become another major franchise to entertain worldwide audiences of all ages. Alicia, can John Carter of Mars be a successful film franchise at another studio at this point?
I don't know. It's tough to say because the original material is obviously so rich. I mean, it inspired Star Wars and Avatar, like Ashley said. It's just hard. With John Carter, I felt like it's hard not to make it feel derivative because it's been mined so much, even though it is the original source material. And I don't think the marketing helped so much, and so it was a huge box office bomb. I think it was made for $250 million reportedly, and then only made about $280 million, so it just barely made its production budget back. But I don't know, there's good stuff in there, but I don't know if anyone will want to take a risk on it. But the estate obviously wants it to get out there and have it done properly.
Steve, I remember you and I saw it together in Arizona. Isn't that where we saw it? Anyway, your thoughts.
I have a lot to say on this. Here we go.
Give it to us.
Okay, first, John Carter is not a box office bomb. A box office bomb is a movie that costs $100 million to make and makes $20 million at the box office. The reason people call it a bomb is that it didn't make the money that Disney expected, but it almost made...
It's a lot of money to make the movie.
That's the problem. See, it's not a bomb because it made $283 million worldwide. That is sorry for the line. Oh, I was about to drop it.
Can't do that.
It made a crap load of money. The problem with John Carter is it cost a crap load to make.
Yes,
If John Carter had been made for $100 million, it would have sequels right now. But because the film cost so much, that's the big problem. Now, Andrew Stanton did a fantastic job with the material.
And he loved the books too.
Passionately.
I got to be honest, I loved the movie. I really did. I'm so sad it didn't get a sequel. I think that John Carter has an audience. I would love to see it as a 10-episode Game of Thrones type show on HBO, John Carter, Mars, Earth, whatever. I could totally see sequels as long as they're being done at a responsible budget. But as I said, it really irks me. So many people call it a bomb, and it's not a bomb. It just didn't make the money they needed it to make. Again, $300 million
expensive.
Exactly. That was the big problem. But again, I don't know how you felt about it. I thought it was fantastic. Andrew Stanton did a great job. I would love to see him make a sequel. at a lower budget. But yeah, I totally think that there's an audience for it, especially with how much money it made and how many people grew up with it, watching it, reading about it. You know.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm with you. I'm so glad to hear you say, I loved John Carter. I thought it was wonderful, pure sci-fi. You know, not often I come out of the theater, even sci-fi movies, where I think that was just great sci-fi. It just felt like the classic notion of sci-fi. I thought Stanton, like you said, did a great job with it. I like the performances in it. I don't see where $250 million went necessarily. It's an expensive movie, sure.
They reshot it a bunch.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff that went in there.
They did the Pixar method of reshooting and reshooting, which doesn't work in live action.
Yeah, or not nearly as well, at any rate. But so, and I've always made that argument. Is it a bomb if almost $300 million worth of people go to see it? Okay,
No.
So
But they barely
no,
made the money
but
back.
you can still lose when you lose the company $200 million because once you add about a $30 million market, I think they said they had, which makes it equal to its what it made at the box office, about 280. Add 30 million to that, so about 280 wash even. But then about 30% of that stays with the movie theater. So now suddenly John Carter, which looks like it broke even, actually loses almost $200 million, and that makes Disney step back. But you and I talked in Arizona too when we saw this film. I think both of us came out and said, "Man, that movie's really good." But the marketing's so bad, no one's going to see it.
Yeah.
What's funny is I didn't say that. I think they struggled with the beginning of that film. The intro was something that they tweaked and worked on again and again. And it's really hard. It's hard to sort of get people. It's a hard movie to sell to average people. They tried their best. The opening of the movie struggled with how to introduce the story to audiences. And listen, I mean, again, the movie just cost too much money to make. It was a very expensive film. That movie should never, ever have been allowed to spend that much money to get it in theaters.
Yeah, and I thought I personally did think they did a horrible job with the marketing. I thought taking of Mars out of it, just calling it John Carter, but that's a minor thing. But then, never watching the trailers did I get a sense for what is this movie and what are they going for. Now, granted, it's a difficult movie to do that for, but I remember talking to the publicist when we were in Arizona there, saying, guys, you guys really dropped the ball on this because I don't think anybody has any clue what this movie really is.
That was the problem. No one knew what it was going to be.
Between that and you nailed it, the whole production budget of it, it just made for an unfortunate mess. And I wanted a sequel too, so bad.
I really, really, really wanted a sequel. Listen, I am happy though that the rights have gone back because it means someone who's passionate about the material can hopefully take it on, or even Andrew Stanton can come back, and because he loves that universe and world. But the question is, will he get even $100 million to make a sequel?
Oh, and is he going to venture from the safe walls, not safe walls, but from the wonderful walls of Pixar to do something like that? I'm not sure.
I mean, look, I hope something happens, but I don't know what it'll be.
All right. Well, folks, we reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her house, she's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Yesterday, we reported that Warner Brothers was delaying The Conjuring 2 until an unspecified date in 2016. No reason was given for the delay until now. Deadline reported that the reason for the delay was that WB had come to an agreement with original Conjuring director James Wan to return and helm the sequel. However, Wan needs time to finish his work on Fast and Furious 7. Steve Byers saw James Wan returning for The Conjuring 2.
Oh, I buy. I mean, he's the only person who's launched 3 successful horror franchises. The man is beyond talented. The Conjuring is a great horror movie. Annabelle is a terrible horror movie. And I mean, whatever he wants to do regarding horror is great. And I believe that he can, make the movie good. I got to asterisk this. I think people have talked about this online, but did everyone notice that his production company signed a deal with New Line? I am convinced. Mind you, I have no factual basis for this statement. This is just my gut feeling. But Warner Brothers is all about getting filmmakers under the fold. They have Ben Affleck, they have Todd Phillips, Nolan, whatever. I believe they signed this deal with James Wan as, please come back and do Conjuring 2. We're going to give you a New Line production deal. I'm convinced that after Conjuring 2, he's going to do a DC movie. And he has a relationship with The Rock, and a lot of people were saying it online, and I agree. I think he's going to do Shazam.
Well, it would be interesting because he is coming off of Fast and Furious 7, which I think rounds him out as filmmaker. Although it is pretty interesting. Not so long ago, remember he did the interview, says, yeah, I'm moving on from horror films.
Yes.
I'm moving on from horror films. No more horror for me. What's that? What's that? Oh, that's a dump truck full of money being backed up to my house. I love horror again. Oh, well, he's always loved horror. I buy this big. Because on yesterday's show, we talked about they moved the date, and I said I sell it, they're moving the date. We don't know all the facts, though, so let's wait to find out why they did it. But for just the information available, I sell it. Well, if they're delaying it so they can get the right director back in the seat, then that changes that into buy. And it was funny on yesterday's show, Christian Harloff was saying, before the news came out that James Wan was returning, Christian Harloff said, well, who knows? Maybe they're delaying it so they can, because they're going to get James Wan back. I mean, he's coming back, right? And both of us, me and Amy Rosewood, said, no, he's not coming back. And then as soon as the show was over, we found out, they just announced that he's coming back, which I thought was scientific. So, yeah, for me, this is a buy.
Oh, definitely a buy. The Conjuring scared the pants off me so much that I didn't want to see Annabelle. And I never will see Annabelle.
You don't need to see Annabelle.
I can't believe you watched The Conjuring.
Scared. I had to for a junket, and I talked to James Wan, and he said as well, I'm done with horror after this. This is my last one. I want to move on as a filmmaker. So I think that's really interesting, your theory there, Frosty, because it could happen, something, or just see him do other movies within New Line.
Here's the thing. He signed a production deal, New Line. New Line has the rights to Shazam as far as I know. But Warner Brothers wants to get him in the family.
Yeah.
He's an extremely talented filmmaker.
Is.
He's a really talented filmmaker, and I think that I really believe Conjuring 2, and then sort of like Peter Berg having to do Battleship for Universal, and then he got to do Lone Survivor.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of that thing, and but they
do one for us, and then you can do one for you.
Yeah, but I don't listen. Maybe it's going to be something else. It's just a theory, but they need filmmakers that are talented, that can handle big budget to do these DC movies.
And Conjuring, not a bomb at all. It was $318 million
and
off
dying
$20
to
million
see.
budget.
Dying to see what he does with Fast and Furious 7.
Yeah.
Really interesting
So
to see.
interesting.
All right, let's move on. What's next?
As many of you know, WB announced their upcoming DC properties film lineup, with Cyborg being one of the main pieces. In a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, actor Ray Fisher confirmed that he and his Cyborg character will not only be appearing in Batman vs. Superman and his own standalone film sometime in 2020, but also in Justice League Parts 1 and 2. John Byers saw this level of involvement from Cyborg.
Oh, I really like it. I like it a lot. It shows me that they have a plan. They're not just throwing characters in like a salad mix. My biggest complaint has always been about Warner Brothers and their handling of their DC properties is that it has always felt for years like they've been purely reactionary and never had a plan. And they just, we're going to put out Man of Steel, not sure if we're going to do a sequel yet. Let's just wait to see. Always reactionary. It seems like since Kevin Tsujihara has come on board, it seems like Tsujihara has cleaned house and said, no, we are putting together a roadmap. We'll be flexible enough to change if we need to, but we're going to make a long-term plan. We're going to plan our movies accordingly, and them saying what the involvement of Cyborg is going to be shows me that not only do they have a grand picture plan, they have a plan for these individual characters that they're not just tossing in willy-nilly. So to me, that's very encouraging. So for me, it's a buy. Amy Rose?
Yeah.
Amy Rose. Alicia? Start with an A.
Wait a minute.
We're like sisters from other
Yes.
misters, so that's fine. I'm by this as well. I love that Ray Fisher didn't even know he was getting his own standalone movie till just hours
great.
before it was announced. He got a call. It's like, yes. I like that for someone like me who's not too familiar with the character. He's going to be introduced slowly throughout. It's going to be Batman v Superman, then Justice League movies. I like that Cyborg is going to be the first African-American superhero film to not be in an ensemble since like 2008 Hancock, if you count that with Will Smith. And Ray Fisher, he seems like a really interesting actor. No feature film credits to his name, but he's a classically trained theatre actor. He got a lot of praise for his performance as Muhammad Ali on Broadway. And it seems like DC are being smart, or Warner Brothers, at collecting these really great actors that maybe could be seen as a risk, like Ezra Miller, but I think will deliver the goods.
Yeah, I buy it 100%, but let's also remember that 2020 is when the movie's coming out.
It's a long time.
A lot can change between now and then.
Yeah.
It's possible that they screw up the entire DC universe and this movie never gets made. I think we should all remember that. My biggest question, and I've asked it of everyone, and I'm still waiting for the answer, who is DC's Kevin Feige? Which is the guy, because the problem with Warner Brothers, we look at Green Lantern, it is a terrible movie. It is just a mishmash of ideas, it's not good, and I want to know, like, the reason Marvel is Marvel, they have a very small, centralized core of individuals that run the movies. Kevin Feige is the leader, who has proven that he's a genius. The guy's amazing. Who at DC is the guy, or the small team that's going to run these movies? Because if they're doing it at a corporation level, and there's one person who doesn't really understand the characters or the dynamic of what they're trying to do, this whole thing can get screwed up. Zack Snyder, who I love, and I love Man of Steel, I've said this again and again, he can't direct every movie. Is he going to be the guy who's producing all these movies? Is he going to be the one pulling the strings? who is the Kevin Feige of DC? Until I hear who that is, I'm incredibly nervous.
Yeah, I hope it's never going to be a director that's that guy, because if you look, that's the neat thing about Marvel situation. Kevin Feige's not a director. He stands outside of that. He's an executive who just stands back and oversees everything. And that's why I hope it's never a Christopher Nolan. I hope it's never a Zack Snyder.
Sure, I'm not trying to say but like the fact that Zack Snyder's doing the 2 Justice League movies, I'm so amped up about this. The guy, I love his movies. I love Watchmen, the director's cut. But who's the guy?
Yeah.
Who's the team that's sitting there that's planning out these movies beyond, this is our slate?
Yeah.
You know?
All right, folks, so we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Maybe you'll find your question here on AMC Movie Talk. Maybe you'll see your question answered on the weekends on AMC Mailbag. But listen, we're also going to try to save 1 or 2 minutes at the end of the show to take some of your live questions. So if you're watching us live right now, tweet in some questions or comments to @AMC Movie News, and Ashley will pick a couple out at the end. But for now, let's get to the mailbag. So Ashley, what do we got?
Ivan writes, hey, love the show. After hearing all the buzz for Birdman, I was really looking forward to seeing it, but the only theater playing it is 50 miles away. Why do some smaller films never get the wide release they deserve?
It's not that they never get the wide release that they deserve, and you got to be careful of the word deserve. Remember, these companies put out these movies based on if they think audiences are going to go see them. Last week we were just talking about this. Birdman opened in 4 theaters. I'm sure it's not the record, but it's the biggest number I ever remember seeing of a per-screen average, which was $103,000 per-screen average, when the #1 movie in America was a $7,000 per-screen average. Those are great numbers. You can bet your ass you're going to see a wider rolling out of this film
So we
now.
can say ass on camera.
Yes, we can say ass, yes.
I'm trying to see
Only in
what the
references to donkeys, though.
Got it. Okay.
You can bet your donkey. Anyway, Steve, what do you think?
Birdman is easily one of my favorite films of the year. It is unbelievable. I cannot recommend this movie enough. I'm sure that Fox Searchlight's going to be releasing it in more theaters in the coming weeks. Whatever you need to do to go see this movie, it is worth the 100-mile drive. Michael Keaton is amazing. Easily going to be up for a whole bunch of awards. I love this film.
Yeah, my favourite of the year. Just an incredible piece of art. I've never seen anything like it. It is opening in 18 new markets this weekend, including AMC theatres, and then it's rolling out to be in 200 locations as of next weekend. So, and I think more given the how well it did last weekend. So hopefully, Ivan, you can get to see it.
But remember, let's go back to that original question. Keep in mind the whole term of what deserves to have a wide release. It's all about, for the people that spend the money to put the movie out there.
It costs a lot to get movies in cinemas.
A lot of money to distribute these things, so they want to make sure it's a movie that's not just good, but is a movie that will attract an audience at the same time. And as they're discovering, they have a plan with Birdman, roll it out slowly, and it seems to be working.
An art
But
film.
I think Fox Searchlight has a track record of doing this, though.
Yes.
They start slow and they amp it up, and look, people are buzzing about the box office number. But I mean, ultimately, this movie is so good, it was getting a release.
Yeah,
like a
no,
wide,
I agree.
you know.
I agree. All right, what's next?
Chase writes, hey AMC crew, watch every day. This is literally one of my favorite parts of the day, watching you guys. I even leave you guys on at night to sleep to, listening to my movie news. My question is the Poltergeist remake with Sam Rockwell still happening?
Yeah, as far as I know, we actually just had Sam Rockwell in the studio here. We're going to be airing that interview
It's on
this week?
AMC Indie Spotlight this
Is
week.
it on this week's
Yeah.
AMC Indie Spotlight? There you go. So check out the new, if you didn't need another excuse to check that out, our Sam Rockwell interview is on there right now. As far as I know, last I heard was just in August that July 25th, 2015 is still on. Do you know something more?
I do. I believe it was rated PG-13 by the ratings board recently, or at least maybe not the ratings board, but I've heard it's a PG-13 movie. 100% done. Rosemary DeWitt, Sam Rockwell. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but yeah, it's coming out next year. It's totally on
Is it
track.
still the June or July 2015
I don't know the
date?
release date, but it's 100% coming. It's a big movie for the studio. PG-13. It's definitely being released.
Yeah, I saw, I mean, it doesn't always mean much when it's on IMDb, but I saw that it is on IMDb. So.
No, it's for real done.
Oh, yeah, it's
I
done.
talked to the actors
That's
about
good.
it. It's definitely coming.
All right, what's next?
Juan Carlos Amarios writes, hello AMC, big fan of the show. I recently saw Chef and I loved it. My question is, what's up with Jon Favreau? He seems to be a very talented actor and director. When are we going to see something else from him, and what are your favorite Favreau films? Thank you, keep up the great work.
It's so funny that this question comes in today because yesterday, after we're done the show here, I go home and I work in my living room. I get in my recliner with my laptop and I work and I put the TV on, right? And I just thought, you know what? I love Chef. I'm going to put Chef on as I'm working this afternoon. So I had Chef on. Then, later in the evening, me and some friends went to the Cat and Fiddle in Hollywood, because they're closing down, boo. So we went to the Cat and Fiddle last night, and one of my friends brought another friend of his along. Turns out he's the producer of Chef. It's like, wow, it's just funny. I just saw Chef earlier today again. And then we come in here today, and there was a Chef question. So Favreau is working on Jungle Book. Favreau is still trying to get that Disney park, something Land. What's the name?
Not Magic Kingdom.
No, I think it is Magic Kingdom, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Something like that. It's a Disneyland movie. It's kind of like Night at the Museum, but set in Disneyland.
Right.
So he's got those two things on the go, and I heard one or two other things. My favorite Favreau film is actually now Chef. It used to be Iron Man 1, my favorite film, and I still love Iron Man 1, but my favorite film of his is now Chef. Anyway, have you heard about any other projects he's got going, and what's your favorite Favreau film?
That's a good question. I always have a thing. Man, I don't know what my favorite film by him is. I mean, anytime I think of him, I always think of Swingers.
Yeah.
And it's, I love Swingers, but that's just, he wrote and starred, but did he, wait, he didn't direct that.
No.
That was
I don't
Doug
think he
Liman.
directed, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is
It's Doug Liman.
Yeah, it was, anyway, I love Swingers. I'm sure he has a lot of stuff in the fire. I think he's still enjoying the success of Chef, which is a great movie.
And a passion project of his, too.
100%. But yeah, I mean, he's going to land on his feet. He's very talented. He's done, we're looking at he just came off doing Chef, which was a huge hit. He's going to do something. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, we know the two he's got in the pipe, so he's got that.
But, just
the
because,
Jungle Book one is happening.
Yeah, I think maybe, but I think Andy Serkis is also doing like a Jungle Book movie.
For another studio, yes.
Yeah, so I don't think two get made at the same time. But ultimately,
because that's never happened in Hollywood.
No, but I think
They're a
ultimately
year
the
apart.
one that gets made first is probably going to be the one that goes. But I'm sure that he's being offered a lot of scripts right now, and it's a question of does he want to write something or does he want to direct something else? But those big budget movies like Magic Kingdom take a long time to get the green light.
Yeah.
I loved Chef. Absolutely loved it. So I hope he does more in the indie world.
I agree. All right. Well, I said we would save a couple minutes for your live Twitter questions, and we do have a couple minutes left. So, Ashley, what have you selected out of the Twitter stream today?
John Gray writes, Reverse Guilty Pleasures, a movie everyone else loved and you just didn't get it.
I said this all the time. For me, it is everybody who's way smarter than me loves this film. So I am totally in the minority here. Blade Runner. Blade Runner to me, yep, that's my reverse one. We've all got them, but for me, and I'm man enough, damn it, to say it. But yeah, Blade Runner to me, even though everybody who's way smarter than me loves it, and I acknowledge that, but mine has always been Blade Runner.
I love Blade Runner.
Everybody does. Of course you do.
I mean, it's
But what does everybody love that you don't?
What does everyone love that I don't?
Yeah, the reverse.
I really
the reverse guilty pleasure.
Oh my God! You put me on the spot. I don't think I've ever been asked this question. Honestly, come back to me. Let me think for a second.
Well, I love classic movies, so I should love Lawrence of Arabia.
That's one of my top 10 all-time favorites.
I know.
Stop.
I just don't.
Stop.
I just don't love it.
Have
you ever seen it in the theater?
That
in
is very
70?
big of you
Not
to admit
in
that.
70. No, I would give it another go.
Oh my
In 70
God!
millimeter.
I love that one.
I can't. I mean, that is just like jaw-dropping.
I know. See.
But we all got him. We all got that one.
I absolutely hate Citizen. No, kidding. Not at all. No, I don't have a good answer for you off the top of my head. And as far as a movie that everyone loves, that I don't. I really would have to think about this. I will think about this for the next time I'm on.
Tweet it later today.
Or I'll think about it for the next time I'm on. Honestly.
All right, what's next?
Sebastian Culligan writes, do you think that Hangover 3 would have been a lot better if it had followed the formula of the previous two and set it in, say, Europe?
Oh, the second one sucked. And the second one did follow. No, the reason they did something that was a rather significant departure in the third one than they did in the first two was because the second film sucked so badly because it was just an absolute carbon copy of the first one, just overlay a different city on top of it. And that's what pulled me out of it, because I love The Hangover so much. But they had to do a departure. I actually prefer the third one over the second one, personally.
Yeah.
I do too.
Me too.
What do you guys think about it?
I like you go.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I like the third one better than the second one. I think they did the third to redeem themselves from the second.
I agree.
The first was brilliant. The second was so lazy. It was just exactly a copy of the first.
I still can't believe there's 3 of those movies.
They seem to happen like that.
But here's the thing. They've all made a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And I think the reason is that, look, I prefer everyone prefers the first movie to the second and third. Ultimately, the reason the second and third, I think, pulled people in is people like the characters and the dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you want to...
The wolf pack.
Yeah, exactly, the wolf pack. But the third one has the giraffe joke. So, I mean,
The giraffe joke was funny.
that right there, that makes the third one spectacular. Like, that just one joke, I mean, that's ballsy. That one.
You know what they should do? They should do Hangover 4, where they lose... What's Zach Galifianakis' character's name?
Alan.
Alan. They lose Alan, but as it turns out, it's just skinny Zach Galifianakis, and they don't recognize him anymore,
Yeah.
and they think they've lost him, and they go look for his missing 100 pounds.
He looks
I'm leaving that
amazing.
He looks so different now. It's
Amazing.
crazy. He looks great.
Yeah.
I'm not commenting on that.
He's great in Birdman.
Yes, that's
He's
100%.
fabulous in Birdman.
Everyone is fabulous in Birdman. Like, did we mention that we like that movie?
All right, let's take 2 more really quick.
All right, Douglas Truman writes, with Cyborg showing up in V vs. S, what other characters do you think will make a cameo?
They've pretty much thrown the kitchen sink at it right now. Cameos could be anybody. And honestly, I don't care because since it is just a cameo, it's not going to add anything of substance to whatever the film is. Like, I can take one of my favorite DC superhero characters and have them, oh, look, that was him walking by in the background. Now I love this movie. No, it doesn't really, cameos don't do much for me, so I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would really like to just see a whole bunch of Easter eggs that tease what's coming. You know, like a new...
If they actually tease what's coming and not just an Easter egg for the sake of an Easter egg.
No, what I'm saying is, now that they have a roadmap, they can easily add in via CGI or something, but like, I would love... I mean, this is just my brainstorming, but I would love like Clark Kent standing by the Daily Planet newspaper, and he's like talking to someone on a phone or whatever, and on the newspaper you see like Cyborg, you know, like a picture of him, like, who is this man? You know, things like that like tease the larger universe.
Yeah.
But I don't need to have like 50 superheroes making little cameos. In fact, I'd prefer it not being like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Marvel's so good at the Easter eggs. Most of them I don't get.
And when they do
But
plant
people do.
a significant Easter egg, it usually does point to something else.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the whole
good.
Doctor Strange name drop,
Smart.
Stephen Strange in Cap 2, that points to something larger.
I got to tell you, the best Easter egg that DC / Warner Brothers has ever done is their Easter egg in I Am Legend for Batman Superman.
Batman v
yeah.
Superman, the poster in
That
Times
was
Square.
amazing.
And it's basically the poster they're using now. So you want to talk about a long-term plan. It's Warner Brothers with I Am Legend.
Genius.
They knew what was coming.
This is the culmination of a 9-year plan.
Yes.
All right, one more.
Chatter writes, do spoilers ruin movies for you? I agree that major plot twists are not good, but what about basic plot and character?
No, but like we've had this discussion before, but like there are some exceptions. Okay, now the twist of Sixth Sense. Obviously, if you know what that the whole movie hinges on, that's an exception to this. But for me, honestly, it's not what happens in a movie; it's the telling of the story to me. So if I've read a book that's being turned into a movie first, the movie's not ruined for me. I prefer not to. I'd rather not to. I have a personal rule that I won't read a book first. But if I do read the book, it doesn't change my... Look, I knew the Titanic sank at the end, okay? Didn't ruin the movie for me. So unless it's something big, but like there are some people, I'm sure you get this on your site too. There are some people where if I found out that there is a scene in Batman versus Superman where where Superman, Clark Kent, is in Perry White's office having a discussion with him, and I mentioned that on the show, I tell you, I'm going to get 100 emails from people yelling at me that I'm giving away spoilers. Like, and that's an extreme example, but not. There's so many people that think that any detail you give about a movie is a spoiler. Well, did it really spoil the movie for you, knowing that there's a car chase halfway through this movie? Superman and Batman are going to fight at some point in Batman versus Superman. These are spoilers.
Oh man, I really need to get into this real quick. I absolutely hate spoilers. I'm completely against them. The movie's 2 hours. The less you know, the better. I will cite myself as an example in this. Like, for example, The Equalizer. I'm very lucky. I get to do a lot of set visits, and on set I learn a lot about films. The Equalizer is a great example. I saw a bunch of scenes on set. They showed me video. I learned so much that when I finally saw the finished film, I'd seen some of the big action beats. I knew a lot of the story. I didn't like the movie as much as a lot of other people, and I really think that is a result of me knowing way too much going in.
Yeah, but you're not the average Joe Public guy who doesn't get to go and be on set and see all that stuff happen.
But even normal movies that I'm not fortunate enough to do something like that, I strongly believe that spoilers ruin the cinematic experience, because the more you know about twists and turns, for me, the less you are like again, maybe it's because I know a lot about movies, but like if I try not to watch trailers. Like I really try to avoid, because if I'm going to see a movie, why do I want to learn all these things? I would rather just go in and not know everything and just be, you know, that's why film festivals are amazing. When you watch a movie and you don't know what's coming. So every twist and turn is like, oh my God, you know? Anyway.
For me personally, hearing a spoiler doesn't ruin it for me, because I like to see the cinematic experience and be in the moment watching it. Like reading Gone Girl didn't ruin it at all for me. But I try not to spoil anything for people who do, you know, take it to heart. And only thing I get annoyed at is when people get angry if you spoil something for a movie that's been out for like 10 years.
Oh yeah, no, like, I have a rule about
come on.
spoilers. My rule about spoilers is like, if the movie has already had its theatrical run, has already come out on home video and video on demand for a number of months, then if you really wanted to see that movie, you would have seen the movie already.
That should be the
At
rule.
some point, it becomes fair game to discuss openly.
Yeah, you
like,
want to discuss
But even
it.
now, I still won't sit here and say what the thing in Sixth Sense was, because that one is such a unique example of what can really change your whole perception of a movie just because of that one fact. But it's a delicate dance. The whole thing of spoilers is a delicate dance.
Yeah, I have a policy. I will not talk about spoilers when I'm in a theater or out with food with friends and we're talking about a movie. I'm always looking around.
Yeah,
like,
I'm careful with that stuff.
I just, you know, because for me, I really hate spoilers, and it's part of like my daily life to not ruin things for other people.
And then it becomes even more difficult because 15 different people will have 15 different definitions about what a spoiler is. So we got to be so careful with each other. Okay, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all your theater, showtime, and of course your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget, click that thumbs up button on the video. Make sure you subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel right here and tell all your friends to do so. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting way over there, Miss Alicia Malone. Alicia, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Alicia Malone.
Sitting right beside me here, our good friend, editor-in-chief of over at Collider.com, Mr. Steve Frosty Weintraub. Steve, where can people find you?
You can find me on Collider.com and on Twitter as Collider Frosty. And one last thing, all of you need to go see John Wick this weekend. It is fantastic. Keanu kicks so much ass.
No spoilers.
Yeah, probably.
You just gave it away.
No, but I'm being serious. The movie is awesome, and I really recommend it.
And as a matter of fact, we are doing an AMC spoilers review of John Wick this week, so keep your eyes open for that. And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Ashley Mova. Happy Wednesday, guys.
And you can find me on the various social media networks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, over at John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name is John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.